Once the SDK is ready, I'm going to jump in the SDK in a few seconds, and hopefully in half an hour it will be yours to download. It should be around 90 gigabyte download. When it is going to be unpacked, it's going to be around 120, 125 gigabytes, and at least have 200 to 300 gigabyte available on one of your drive, because it is quite big, especially when you are going to start compiling shaders and distant fields, distant fields, meshes and all. It might get quite big. So yeah, I would get 250 gigabyte and you should be good to go, and if you can on the SSD. Let's jump into it. So let's go into our SDK. Here it is. So you'll see the first map you see is a blank map, and that is for your SDK to start quick. So my SDK on my SSD, I started it once and then I restarted it, and I can start my SDK in around 17 to 20 seconds, so it should not be too long. Obviously it is based on your CPU and what kind of RAM you have in the SSD, or if you're on HDD. So let's get to create your own first mod. So first thing you do, top right, modding hub. So that is from Squad SDK. So if you are familiar with Squad SDK, it is the same. I'm going to call this a braid test mod. The first thing you need to do is no spaces, no dashes, no accent. Try to keep it simple, because there are issues. If you have a space, it might not work. So doesn't matter too much, but to me, yeah, braid test mode, everything is combined. Then you have to select an image for it. Basically, the image you're going to select here is going to be like this. Like we have a 3 mods and a test mod from one of our dev. Well, it says it's me, but it's not me. It's one we use for the next upgrade to the SDK. But at least, yeah, you should have an image that is pretty obvious on what your mod is going to be about. So because now we are doing a test, I am going to select my image. I have made a temp image, and this image should be less than a megabyte. So mine is 34 kilobytes, so I'm plenty good. So mod test, PS logo behind, and when I'm done, I'm going to create my mod. Give it a second. It is going to create you on the left here in your, you will have to click here. You will have braid test mod. That's the one I've just created. It's an empty folder. So what we want to do is to create our first mod. Two things. Two things you have to keep in mind is we have the content folder here, and the content folder is literally our game. So you will see at the root you have some squad content that some of it we're using, and some of the squad content is referenced by some content we are actually using in PS. So do not be surprised when you go into the content and you would go, let's say, in art, and then let's say you go into Soldier 2, you see squad content. So don't worry about it. When you get to the content folder, you have a subfolder here. Let me color it so it's a bit more obvious. Bam. We have the postscriptum folder here. So inside the postscriptum folder, this is where we have everything related to PS. So everything outside of this folder is default squad, and everything inside that folder is what we have created over the past 5 years. So now that we know that, the most important thing that you need to keep in mind is all of these files cannot be changed by you. You cannot delete something, or well, technically you can, but you should not delete anything, rename anything, move anything. Take that postscriptum folder, the entire content folder, take it as it is. If there is something you want to change or modify or tweak in any way, shape or form, you will have to copy paste it out of the content folder. If you modify anything in here and we do make an upgrade and we rename a file, it's just going to be missing, and it's going to be a lot of problems for you. So let's say we want to create a layer. So I'm going to go in best, and I am going to create a new random AES layer. So if I was to open this, that would be the best map that you are already playing in random AES. But let's say I don't want the spawn points to be in the same place, and I also don't want it to be a US layer. Maybe I want it to be a French versus German layer. So I'm going to copy paste this guy into my braid test mod. So if you want to keep things clean, I would suggest you do the same structure as we are doing in, let me show you content browser. Okay, you see here, oops, everything is pretty tidy. Some stuff could be better, but overall everything is in its own folder. I would not recommend you make something like, all your map files and textures right at the root. That would become messy, especially if you're working on a big mod. So I would create a map folder, and inside that map folder, that's where I'm going to copy paste my current map. So it's going to be map best random AAS, and I drag it down. Oh yeah, it might want to not to compile, but it's going to load it first. So we are going to give it a few seconds.
And while we are waiting for this, people who are asking questions in chat, we'll pick a couple questions here and there as we have waiting times here in between. So if there's any questions about the SDK or creating your mod or
Yeah, I'm going to have
anything
a
like that,
very hard time following the questions. So Snaz, if you have anything and
yes,
we have a downtime, feel free to get those questions in.
absolutely. And obviously we'll make the video here or the VOD available on
Mm-hmm.
YouTube once we are finished here.
So yeah, what you wanted to do, and I think it's a great idea, is we are going to make a SDK or a tea time playlist on YouTube. So every video we make, this one is dedicated to how to make your first mod, but in the future we are going to make more tutorials, like how to make your vehicle, how to make your map, how to make your layer, whatever. So we'll try to have like a nice and clean playlist. So if you want to replay them and figure out how we are doing something, then you can, circle back to them.
Some question about what about the release and in terms of game updates. There will be, as far as I understand it, there will be no updates to the clients or the game for the SDK release.
No.
It should all work on
And to keep
the
in
current
mind, the
version.
SDK is a very slightly older version than the one you are playing on, just by a few days. So let's say in the next patch we are going to fix a few things in Utah, like some floating objects. They might still be floating for you in Utah. So just keep in mind that the SDK is not always up to date to where you are in the current live game.
This can also include new assets or new stuff that's been added to the game since then. May not be present in the SDK. So the SDK can sometimes be a bit behind in terms
Yep.
of content available.
But we will do our best to not move blueprints or big files that are really needed. We may tweak a few here and there, but we will do our best to not delete folders or move folders. I know that happened in the past on Squad or some other modded games like, I don't know, I can think of DCS or Arma. Sometimes your entire mods break because the devs, they change something. That may happen, but we will try our best to keep track of what is actually changing and what's not.
Absolutely. And just so people are aware, the SDK is supposed to drop in about 30 minutes on the Epic Games launcher, assuming Epic is going to keep their end of the bargain. If they don't, then we'll obviously have to delay. But
if it's a delay,
if
it's
that
going
happens,
to be a
we'll have some
small
other.
delay.
Yeah, if that happens, we'll have some other cool goodies we'll show off instead.
Okay, it finally finished loading. So now I can I can copy it. So I'm going to copy here. And before I get this map loaded in, there is one thing I need to touch down on, is the way we are working with a few things. So if we go back to the root of best, you see we have a best geo, and then we have a random AAS, and then we have a lighting folder. And the reason is each map is actually three levels combined together make a PS layer. So let me do a bit of drawing so you can understand. Is basically we have the gameplay level, and the gameplay level is containing it's going to contain the spawners, it's going to contain the vehicles, the game mode, it's going to contain the ticket, it's going to contain what else, cap zones, basically everything that is linked to the gameplay mechanics. And to this, we link three things. I'm going to do it like this. So we are linking the geo. So the geo is, if you open that map, it's going to be your landscape, the trees, the fences, the houses. It's the play area, but with no lighting. So when you open it, it's going to be pitch black. Then we have the lighting that we add on top that allows us to switch between afternoon and night and rainy and cloudy and sunny. And yeah, there should not be a third arrow. That's my mistake. This arrow don't mind it. So on top is always the gameplay layer, and the gameplay layer is the one, oh, I should not do it like this. Yeah, the gameplay layer is the one calling those things. That is one thing I want to have you understand, because it's going to be very important, and that is just because of the mod. So now that we've covered this, and all of this can be found in the level. So if you go in Windows, you have a level tab here, and then you can dock it wherever you like. I like to dock it here. So let's open best random AAS. I'm going to call it best random AAS FR French and 01. So now it's already loaded. It should not take too long to start the map. If I don't double click, it's going to take a long time.
And I guess in the meantime we could see if there's any questions in here.
Yep.
Will the Steam Workshop come with the SDK, or will it be separate? Well, the SDK will be available on the Epic Games launcher.
Yes, so
and the Steam Workshop is
I can't
available
show you,
through
but it's going to be called Postscriptum Editor. And hopefully in 20 minutes or so you will be able to download it, and again it's a 90 gig. So now we have open best, so you may recognize it. It is the random AAS level. And let's circle back to our little layers. So now you see we have the persistent level. If I find it in content browser, it's my random AAS. So this one is containing, if I turn everything else off, this one contains only gameplay information. You see those folders, they are empty. And others, yeah, I'll get back to those, but it's only the information that are on top. Then we add in the lighting. So it's only the lighting, there is no ground, but all of these objects are from the actual gameplay. So if I go in that little arrow here and I press level, it tells you what level the object is in. So it tells me that all of these gameplay folders are in level, and then if I go into lighting, it tells me that, okay, this is best afternoon sunny. And also in the layer of lighting, we also include sound, because, you know, at night it's not the same sound than during the daytime. So if you want to have like jungle at night, it's definitely different than jungle during the daytime. So you put your sounds in the lighting level. So yeah, and then you load in the geo. And how could we describe the geo? It's just the environment. It's everything that cannot move, that cannot be interacted with. It's all the core, all the basic objects you have in. So if I turn off my gameplay layer, you will see everything will disappear here. So it's just the map, the empty map, and there is no lighting. So it looks like this when you open a geo file, unless you go in unlit, and then you can see what's in there. Let's move on. So now that I've loaded an existing map, I have to figure out what do I want to do with it. So for today, we are going to do something very simple: change the faction, keep the game mode. We're going to change the ticket count, and we are going to change a few more things so you have an idea of how that works. You have to go in Window, World Settings, give it a few seconds to, yeah, there we go. And World Settings is usually on the right here next to details. So I'm going to collapse everything, and we'll go in through what is actually important. A lot of these things you don't have to worry about. So what you need is, the first thing is team. Who is involved? So random AAS US 01, it's the Waffen SS against the 101. So we want to change that. We don't want it to be the Waffen SS. I want this layer to be French against the 1940 Wehrmacht. So I click on that little magnifier, and I see German Wehrmacht, but there is a German Wehrmacht 1940, which is the one I want. So I'm going to plug this in. And as a good rule of thumb, I recommend you guys do the same, because if you don't, it's going to create a lot of problems down the road. Is Team 1 is always Axis, and Team 2 is always Allied. So I would try to keep, you have to be consistent on this, because if you start swapping things, then you're going to have a lot of issues where the ammo trailer is not visible by your team, but it's visible by the enemy team, because each of those objects is linked to Team 1 or to Team 2 based on who is the owner. And if you set a neutral team, then everybody can see it. Okay, like the tractor.
And use it.
And use it, yes. And if it's, let's say, a jeep, then people will see where you are on the map because that icon is going to be replicated on the minimap. So now I have my 1940 German force, and I don't want the 101st, I want the French. So the French, they are here. BP Team Info FR French Army. Link it here. Give it a second for it to compile. It's the first time I launched the SDK on this computer, so that's why it should not take that long. M1988 are asking if it's possible to set the neutral team and have the vehicle invisible on the team. What you can do is remove the icon, but that means even your friendly won't see it. At the moment, you can't have something neutral with an icon not visible from the other team unless you put in some coding time. So either no one sees it or either everyone sees it if it's neutral. Like the tractor, when someone finds a tractor and drive around the map, the tractor is not visible on the minimap. It's because we just removed the icon from that object.
If there's a lot of buffering going on, it's likely because he's loading some of the assets and it's causing a little bit of hiccups.
Yes, and that is because, yeah, a lot of those things haven't compiled yet because it's a freshly installed SDK on this computer. Okay, no. Thought it was ready. It's not. Yeah, it should not have been that long though.
No, you will not have to buy PostScriptum. You can't buy PostScriptum on the Epic Store, but the Unreal Engine or the editor for PostScriptum will be free and available on the Epic Launcher.
You can't upload to Steam Workshop if you don't have a Steam account, and I think you need to own the game to upload. I don't know. Maybe I'm not sure. So now I've set my two teams. The attacker is don't mind who is the attacker here because this is old stuff from squad. Yeah, we've built a lot of things on top. So I want to change my ticket cost. Just for the example, on this map, I want it to be 450, up to you. And all the overrides here, don't worry about them. They are not relevant to what we want to do today. Then the minimap. The minimap is in the best folder, so do not duplicate it to your own mod unless you want to change something here. Let's say you want to go in Photoshop and draw something on the map that is really important to you. If you don't want to change an asset from PS, don't duplicate it. That will just make your mod very heavy and it's useless. So if you call something from the game, don't change it unless, and if you want to tweak it, bring it to your mod. Then now we have those two actors. So basically, you see it's just an object telling you a coordinate in the world. And if you de-zoom like crazy, it's the corner of the map. It's where the minimap is going to fit. So when your arrow is on the road, you should actually be on the road. So there is no offset. So yeah, those two things are only used to define where the map should be. Let me be a tiny bit faster so I can explain this better. Okay.
Yeah, so a good rule of thumb is essentially, if you just need to use it, reference it. If you need to alter it, copy it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that's how we can define that.
Ever alter something without bringing it to your mod, because that will not work. So basically, those two actors, they define a position in the world, and the map is constrained. Constrained between those two actors. That's what it's for. Moving on.
Someone asks, is there no minimap generator? I'm not sure what they mean by minimap. Our minimap are
what you do is, let's say this is a brand new map, and let's say you don't want to make another version of Best, you want to make your own map, and I'll copy this in I'll cover this in a minute. Is I've made my little mod here called Breakcourt, and in Breakcourt, basically I've made my own map, and then I made my own minimap. So we'll cover this in the second part of the video. Okay, so now we've done this minimap rendering. We don't care. Game mode. This is where random AAS is applied. So if you go here, it's gonna say this is random AAS. If you want it to be skirmish or armored or offensive, this is where you set the game mode. It is in world settings. Then use fog of war. The fog of war is, can I, like, if I start from this location and my first cap is here, can I see the next cap until this one is capped? So this is the fog of war right here. And the deloyables, this one is a mistake. gameplay. This one is if you want to test your map without going in the game, you can test directly here. So you can set your default soldier, and then you can set your default weapon. And this one, however, is important. Camera actor is when you connect to a server. Usually the camera is, you have like a nice angle that tells you what map it is. So on this map, the camera is here. So if in your mod, for whatever reason, you don't want this POV to be your intro screen, you can copy the camera or move the camera. You don't really have to copy it. And maybe you say that when people connect to my map, I want them to see this building because it needs to be something iconic so people don't, get confused in what map is what. Like in Drill, it's the Drill Bridge. In Arnhem, it's the Arnhem Bridge. Anyway. And then you have to link that camera into here. And that's what people will see when they join in. The HUD is the name that the map is going to be displayed on. So it's when you press enter, on the top left, it says what map you're on. I'm going to set it to best FR01. And pretty much everything else you don't need. Everything you need is in gameplay, HUD, game mode, minimap, team. Everything else, you can look around and you obviously see what happens, but for what we need, that's everything. So now that we've set
we won't cover every detail of the Unreal Engine just because the Unreal Engine is such a huge tool with so many functionalities that we can't go through it. We'll just go through the very basics of how do we set up a map as modders or developers so that you could do the same.
It's just how to do something basic, and then you will expand your skills based on that newly gained experience.
Unreal Engine is a really big playground.
Yes, it's very, very fun, but also you need to understand how the basic works. So especially since you're modding and you're modding a modded game, because our game is based on squad. So some stuff we know it's PS, but you might not always understand what is PS and what is squad. This is why we also have the Discord, the modding hub for PS, where we can try to cover those things. Now I want to change the cap application because now it's French against German, but I don't like where the flags are. I want to change it, so let's go in random AAS. And in here you have the lattice. The lattice is the one containing all the flags and all the objectives. And in here we have five sets. So it's basically, as a German, I have to capture 1, then I capture 2. 3 is the central, and then I have to capture 4 and 5. And 5 is the closest to the French main. So you have groups, and inside these groups you have multiple flags. And on best, it seems like this one has 4. So the central, it's 4 potential locations. So when you start as German, you're going to capture either this or this, and then you are going to capture either this or this, and then you get to central, and it's one of those 4 flags, and it's always random. So it's one time it's going to be this flag, the next time it's going to be this flag. This is why it's random AAS. But let's say you like, I don't like this one, I would like the cap zone to be here. Then you just move it around, and let's say I'm going to make this building the cap zone, and Kirk is okay, and trenches is okay. So now basically what I've changed, I kept everything default but central. And I may want to rename it because I moved this, and this used to be called backyards, but maybe I want to call it, I don't know, let's go with warehouse. You go in the detail panel, select your flag, and deep down you have SQ map icon. No, it's PS capture zone component. And in here you have the name, so I'm going to call it warehouse. Oops. Warehouse, yeah. And just for it to be clean, I'm going to rename warehouse here as well. So now this flag is going to be called warehouse, and what was the other one? Best. Okay, I'll just call it best because that's city center.
Okay. And a sphere isn't the only shape you can have for a cap zone.
Oh yes,
you can also make it a box.
How big the cap zone is. So if I go back to my warehouse, and you see I have 2 spheres. That's actually not correct. It should be 1 sphere. So I deleted one. Must have been, there is a little problem here. Anyway, the sphere, you can then select how big you want the cap zone. Do I want it to be a small cap zone? Do I want it to be a huge cap zone? That is up to you, based on what you want and what makes sense. So I will keep 4,000 for now.
And if I say I wanted to make it a box, if I wanted it to be like a
Yeah,
area,
it,
but
it
not,
needs to
not
cover, like, let's say the cap zone is only inside that warehouse and not around, then you just add a new component. It's going to be called box volume. Box collision? Box volume? Let me double check. I'm brain farting on this one. I don't think it's a box because the box... No, it might be okay. It's been a while. So now you're just gonna scale it up to what you want. You can move your warehouse cap zone here. Yeah, let's say that's what you want, but you can see that you still have a big ass sphere all around it, and you don't want that sphere to be your cap zone. So what you need to do is just make it small. Oops, 100. So now if I zoom in, yeah, that is my cap zone, but that box volume is going to be the one, and you might need to change its collision profile. Oops, I deselected it. There we go. I just hidden the sky. So I have that little box, okay, and box here, and I just need to change, I think it's collision profile. Let's double check. Collision, yes, capture zone. Okay, so it needs to be a capture zone. Because if not, it might just be a proper collision and you just can't get inside that box. It could be just a collision blocking players or vehicles. So I want it to here, and it's going to be capture zone. There it is. And
that way you can customize. You can very quickly customize how you would like the layouts to be, and
yep.
I believe you can even combine multiple boxes together.
Yeah. There is a cost. The more components, the heavier it gets, but we're not talking that heavy.
Yeah, but there's a lot of flexibility here for the capture.
Oh yes, if you want only the backyard to be the cap zone, then you make a proper rectangle right around here and not a sphere, because the sphere would not be as precise. Anyway, so I have my cap zone. I'm okay with this. So this is all I wanted to cover for this tutorial, the faction and changing flags. Now let's make it a mod. So I'm going back into my test mod, making sure it is saved. Okay, now it is saved, and I haven't changed the minimap, so I know for a fact that this file is going to be found by any client because this is a default PS file. And okay, let's compile. I'm going back in my modding hub, making sure that my mod is loaded. If it's not loaded, you go in load and edit. And now what you need to do is, I like to open the output log so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to go in share. You have package. So as soon as you click package, it's going to start compiling the mod. You see here. That might take a few minutes. I think it's going to take 2-3 minutes top, so we can cover more questions if you have any, Snazzy.
Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on the chat here, and I think there's actually a really quick question. It returns to the whole vehicle thing with the neutral vehicle. Someone said, could you blueprint a vehicle change a belonging team based on certain behaviors? Like, for example, you can capture a vehicle, and I believe so. Yeah, I mean, there's not really any real limitations. If you can do it with blueprint, then
it's just every time you affect the blueprint, keep in mind to put it out into your own mod.
Yeah, it's very important just remembering that if you only want to use something, you can reference it. But if you want to edit something or make changes to it, then you need to copy it to your own folders. Otherwise it just won't work.
Yeah.
Because you can't modify anything that's based in the game. Anything in those base folders that come with the game, those cannot be modified by anyone.
Well, you can, but it's not going to work.
Yeah, it's not going to work. But and
what I can recommend you guys do is when you download your SDK, what you could potentially do is go into the content folder, right-click properties, and say read only. That way, that file cannot be saved. Every time you try to modify a default file from PS, it's just going to complain, hey, I cannot do that because that file is locked. It's actually possibly the safest way of going. So here you can see a bunch of errors. Those are okay because some of them are folder we've deleted in the SDK. Like we have some dev folder where we prototype stuff, and it might be a reference. It's not really, don't worry about those errors.
Speaking of which, we have 5 minutes or so until we will know whether or not the editor is going to be out on the
Epic store?
On the store page.
Yeah.
So we'll have to keep an eye out, and hopefully it is. Hopefully it'll be available and people can start working.
Yep.
One thing you did mention that I should remind you about was talking about version control
Oh yes, yeah. We
and
had
version control
a few
software.
modding team come to us and
Yeah.
hey, what do you guys suggest? It's not even what do you think of this or that. It's
Mhm.
just if you are doing a small map, like I'm going to show you
I think
my little test map, you don't need it because it's just you. But
no.
as soon as you have more than 2 guys, it is.
Mhm.
I think it's not possible to work without source control, or it is possible, but it's going to be such a nightmare, and you are going to waste so much time.
And
By
we may as well cover the topic really quickly. What is a source
okay, yeah,
in
source
Bristol?
control. The way I like to describe source control can be described by a little drawing again. So you have to imagine
Let's do another drawing then.
another drawing. Yeah, you have to disregard what's in the background. I'm just going to draw. Imagine that this box is a drawer. It's a drawer with all the content that you are making. I'm not talking about PS content, but whatever you're making. Source control, it's very easy. Is let's say like you have multiple files inside, and let's say Snazzy, you want to work on this guy. And
Yeah.
I also want to work on this guy because I have to do something else. Let's say you are doing level design, you are putting trees and foliage, and I need to put a lake or a river. And I'm going to open that file, I'm going to do everything I need, and I'm going to save it. And you are also going to do your changes, and maybe it could be 4 hours of work. And now, because the way the levels are made, you have to decide, do we keep my changes or do we keep your changes? We can't just combine them because those files are, they are files and we can't just merge them like you would with a regular code in Notepad.
Right.
So what it does is, as soon as you want to work with something, you grab it out of the box with you. And that file is locked here. The little sound you heard is the mod is finished. So that file is still available to everyone, but no one else but you can edit that file. So that means I can work on it. And when I'm done working with that file, I put it back in the box. And that allows me to lock files and not have anyone do something on what I'm currently working on. And when I put the file back, the source control is going to tell whoever is working with you, hey, this file is not up to date. Do you want to get the latest version of that file? And this is literally a source control. Is getting files out of the drawer, you work on them, and when you're done, you put them back in and people can upgrade. So I hope that was clear enough. What do you think, Snazzy?
Yeah, I think you covered it in a pretty good manner, a way that people can understand.
Got it.
And there's a lot of options for source control too. So personally here at Periscope, we use Perforce, but obviously Perforce is
and I'm going to
really big and
to explain you. I went French here. I'm going to explain you why Perforce is. I don't believe Perforce is the right way. Not because it's expensive, because it is expensive. Perforce is pretty expensive, but it's the core way Perforce is working is literally what I've just showed you. So if I go back into my SDK here, okay. What Perforce is doing, I'm going to do it on, let's say the animation gun AK-74. That's the squad file. What Perforce is doing is, by default, everything is locked. Like it's read-only here. So I'm going to press OK, and now that file is locked. And what Perforce is doing is, when you check it out, it's going to make it read-only. It is going to remove the read-only to you, and now you can edit that file without getting an error like this file is locked. And when you do compile, the way I've just done here, it's going to try to edit some files here. And it is going to tell you, hey, my cooking is failing because that file is locked and it should have been overwritten. And that's why I think Perforce is the best solution for us as devs, but I'm pretty sure Git is the best approach for modders because those files, they are tweaking files in the engine here.
yeah.
So,
And there's a lot of options. Like there's Git and GitHub and various other repository. Most repository systems will work.
And you even have you have source control here, so you can connect to source control, and then it's going to ask you, hey, is it Perforce? Is it Git? I think it used to say back in the days like SVN and some others, but you see Git is right off the bat in Unreal Engine. So I would suggest going with Git instead of Perforce. You can go with Perforce, just understand the restriction that it will come with.
So it looks like the PostScriptum SDK is actually up on the store page now.
Is it?
It is up. It is complaining, so give it a couple of minutes while Epic figures out how it's going to deal with this. But it does look like the SDK is actually uploaded, and it should be available to download very soon.
Okay, I don't see it yet. I still see it under the code name. Yeah, we'll stay tuned.
You might need to do a quick little reboot of your Epic.
It was fresh
Epic
booted.
launcher.
But yeah, let's resume our work. So my mod is compiled. So let me show you where that lands. So I'm going on my drive here. Epic, Dahlia. Well, it's going to be called Postscriptum Editor for you. Dahlia is just the temporary code name. Postscriptum, and then it goes into plugins, mods. And here you see we have Braid test mod we've created a few minutes ago. And here you have the content that is just your Unreal Engine map. And it's cooked. So now we are ready to upload our little mod to the Steam Workshop. And the best way of doing this, be sure that you are logged on Steam. If you are not logged on, it is going to give you an error. So you must have Steam running and not being inside a game. If you are playing a game, you may have errors. I had errors last week because I was logged on multiple computers and I was playing PS on another computer and it complained. So have a nice clean PS, a nice clean Steam without anything started. Now we go back into our modding hub and we click upload. It's going to ask for a changelog. I'm going to call this first push of my test mod. And I press OK. Now it's going to prepare and now it's starting the upload. So you see in the output log, it's going, uploading content. Give it a few seconds.
So, I guess it's time for us to drop our news post. Don't you think?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah, because I need to give a few seconds. The Steam Workshop will not see your mod right away. You need like 2-3 minutes before it sees it. So yeah, let's use that time. Push it. In the meantime, I'll
Here we go.
Ooh. Show me the.
But yeah, this is so be surprised or not, this is actually a huge deal for us. This is a huge milestone, something that we've been working towards for at least 2 years now. Since the release of the game, this has been kind of like the gold standard. We wanted to get the SDK out here, so I am super excited about our SDK finally being here and finally being ready for the launch.
One thing to say though is the editor side of thing is ready. You can upload your mods to Workshop and you can kind of play them. Mm-hmm. But keep in mind, it is not finished. The entire user interface.
I think if you take a look at the bottom there, there's a little something for all of our. Something. Yeah, a little something, eh? Very exciting, very exciting.
Did it say chapter 4?
Oh, chapter 4, eh? Where did that come from?
So yeah.
Who approved this?
So I will leave you guys to read through this. Now I'm going to update here. Yeah, I'm going to give it a few more minutes. Steam is not always reading the mods right off. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my little test mod and then we can talk about how to make a new map from scratch.
I think that's a wonderful idea. I'm going to leave you with them for a moment while I go do my community management magic, and I'll be back in just a hot moment.
Do your thing. In the meantime, I'm just going to check Epic. Want to see if the game is out. Let's see if I find any questions. No, Maginot is not out just yet. We are going to get into testing very, very soon. We're still working on it, but it's looking very promising. So now, how do you put the mod on the server? Yeah, that's the part we're still working on. So it works. You can host a mod like my little map. Yeah, it's open. So I made this little map just for fun. It is some sort of tribute to Call of Duty 2 that released almost 15 years ago, maybe even more. Yeah, maybe 17 years ago. It's the one that used to be called Brécourt with the Brécourt Manor. So don't mind the missing graphs. That is just a glitch. So yeah, this was like a day and a half of work. It's just me bashing assets on the landscape with a few trenches here and there. And it's an infantry only map, so you don't have any vehicle spawners, it's just infantry. We have a custom minimap coming with it. And that was just for fun. And so we are still working on direct integration for servers, so it works. You can, if you are an admin, you can look into how to do it in Squad, and it's pretty much the same. But you can't just load in the game and subscribe to mods right from the launch page, from the game. You will have to subscribe to the mod from this page. And when you have subscribed to the mod, it will download it, and oh, there is our mod. And then you will be able to join a server with that mod. All of this is being worked on. The priority now is to get the tools out for the modders and for the developers. And in a few weeks' time, I really hope we're going to have our entire modding interface for the end user, so it's not too glitchy and not very user friendly. So that is the main concern. But at least now you can make your own mods. You can test them. This is working. We played last week with some of our testers. We played this map. It was just 4v4 with great fun. So at least we know that can be done. The only thing that cannot be done right now is we cannot have a custom loading screen, or like I've made a loading screen, but it's not triggering. So when I load Brécourt from PS, it's using a temporary PS loading screen. And the map, we can't yet split the lighting, because if you split the lighting into multiple layers, like I explained earlier today, it's going to ask you, do you want to, like when you do an admin change map, it's going to offer you admin change map Brécourt and admin change map Brécourt afternoon. And if you load the afternoon, it's going to crash your game. So all of those little user interface and quality of life improvement will come soon. We know that we are working full time on it. Snazzy, apparently the SDK is downloadable. I don't know, I haven't followed much.
Yes, the SDK should be up on the store page.
Oh, I don't see it yet. So I think that covers it for today. You can see that we have uploaded our mod. My mod is here. So now if you want to try, like if you're an admin and you want to test something with your friend, tell them to subscribe. You have the change log here. So, first push of my test mod is here. And like on Brécourt, I made a few updates. So you can see, and you can see here all the change logs that I've made, all the different versions. And when you update it, people who are subscribed will automatically get the update. What else could I say? Yeah, if you like things clean, add tags. So when you create a new map, you can go in here and you say update tags. And what is your map? So me, it's not chapter 1, 2, 3 or chapter Z. It is a custom, no, it's actually chapter 1 because it's best. It is a map and it's a layer. It's not a game mode. The game mode is default. It's not a total conversion. It's not a deployable. It's just a map and a layer. And how many players? It can go up to 80, all the way down to 10 players. And it's a random AAS. And by doing that, that allows, oh shit, that was Brécourt. So let me just change my mistake. Custom, not chapter 1. Update. And now what it allows you to do is when you are in the workshop, you can browse the items, and here on the right you can say, hey, I only want to see things that are affecting chapter 1, which is nothing at the moment. Or hey, I only want to see custom maps. Then you check in customs. This guy doesn't want to go. I'm just going to refresh the page. Okay, customs. Okay, so if I want a custom map, these are the two that are available right now, Arad and Brécourt. So those two maps are tributes to some of the maps I like. They are not official. It's very important that you guys understand that. And yeah, that's it. So if you tag your mods cleanly, then everybody can find them and subscribe to them. And in a few weeks' time from now, you will be able to subscribe directly from the game and just double click on the server you like and join in.
Yeah, the current implementation is it's quite bare, but we are working on getting it state where it's going to be easy for people to join a server. It's going to be easy to get in and play these mods on a public server. We aim to make it as easy as we possibly can.
I don't see the editor, but if people can see it, that's good.
Yes, you might need to restart yours. It's definitely up on the website as well.
Great. Okay, that's all I wanted to hear. So that's great news. And now you know how to make a basic mod, and you know how to upload it. On how to get it to work on the server, I'd rather you guys figure it out on your own for now, because I don't want to make a tutorial about it that is going to be irrelevant in a few weeks.
Yeah. As for the people who are server hosters who might be watching the stream, they will get some information about hosting mods very, very soon. Because the SK just released, we're not expecting a huge influx of mods or the users of mods immediately, but we're going to make sure that our server hosters are going to be adequately informed as well about how do I host a server, or how do I host this mods on the server. So, but we encourage you to go check out the Steam announcement post that went public less than a couple of minutes ago.
Sure.
Hey, Tonka. We're live
now. Oh, nice.
So do you guys have any, Snazzy, do you have any other questions from the community, or do you think we should call it for today?
I think we covered everything, because we have the release now, and I think it's best to let people start exploring. I think you've gone through everything in terms of the basics of how to get started with your mod.
No spaces in the name. Make sure all the names are without spaces, because that is going to create issues. The image for the mod needs to be less than a megabyte. Do not change anything from the content folder, because it's not that you can't do it, it's going to fuck with everything you're going to do next. So this remains as it is, and if you compile and you have error while compiling, make sure that you don't have read-only checked on your engine folder. And no, that's and Snazzy and I and the rest of the dev team will be on the modding hub as well, so we'll try to help you in the first few weeks, because obviously you're going to get up to speed. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start EU2 dev server with my little test map, Arad and Breakcore. And if you guys fancy joining us, I will be on that server, and we'll try to kill ourselves Call of Duty 2 style, if you are old enough to remember the real Call of Duty. Snazzy, are we all good?
I think we are all good. I'm so excited. I can barely read my own skin. This is a monumental day for us.
Yes, it is an exciting milestone. We've been talking about SDK for ages, and many things got us blocked. At first it was
so
Epic,
much so that
it was
became a meme,
and then it was secret content, and then it was But we're there. The SDK is available. It works. You can make your own maps. And thank you everyone for being patient with us. That was very appreciated. And see you in the game if you want to play.
I don't think we'll have another stream before next year. Unfortunately, as we are leaving for holiday the 23rd.
Yeah, 23rd, yes.
And so I don't expect another stream before that. So in that case, at least from our stream here, happy holidays to everyone. And I hope you enjoyed these little Christmas presents, and we hope you look forward to what's going to be coming in 2021, which is going to be one hell of a year.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty awesome. So, Snazzy, if you want to play with me, I'm going on Breakcore and Arad. Arad is going to be a little Combined Arms map. So, guys, if you want to join us, just get subscribed on those two mods, and we are going to get the EU1 server up in the next few minutes, and hopefully we see you there. Have a great day. See you later.
Have a good one, guys.